The Fargone Podcast, presented by This Is Coffee. Premium instant coffee meant to be enjoyed outside. Get yours at thisiscoffee.ca. Alrighty, well, another episode of the Fargone Podcast. And before we get into things, we have a bunch of announcements. So in the store, fargone.ca, have a bunch of new brands that just hit the shop. As always, got This Is Coffee ripping and ready to go. I'm drinking one right now. But also, All In just hit the store. Digiscoping adapters. We have Seeger Lifestyle just hit the store. Bunch of new First Light, everything from woman's line to whitetail line. And a bunch of different stuff. Have a Sig Sauer restock happening really soon. Asiac restock, Argali restock, bunch of stuff that just hit the store. But with all of that away, we are now into a special episode with old Jeremy here. Jeremy, how's it going? Dude, cannot
Good, man. How are you
complain,
doing?
man. So, Jeremy, tell us a little bit about yourself. And I like that Seeger hoodie that you're rocking from the store right now, too, actually.
Yeah, Seeger in the shop. Yeah, man. I started working for Fargone a couple months ago, and my background is in fishing. I've been kind of working for a fishing outfitter in the Chilliwack Valley for the last 4 years. Doing a bit of guiding, doing a bit of outfitting, just kind of doing the whole fishing world from trout to salmon to sturgeon and all that, and just kind of being in that world. And yeah, just kind of through some circumstances and everything like that, I ended up here with the boys at
Dude,
Fargone
well,
and
we're
couldn't
happy
be
to have
happier.
you,
So
man. We're happy to
stoked to be
have you,
here.
and you've been a special addition to the team for sure. But dude, I really want to chat fishing today. Because like I said, right now we're in the heat of stillwater season. Obviously, you have done some guiding and you're doing different things like that and grew up kind of with a freaking rod in your hand, especially in kind of like the Okanagan area and doing a lot of stillwater fishing, which kind of feels like the thing that I'm starting to get more and more excited about every year is stillwater fishing. I'm not very good, but it definitely is something that gets me stoked. So I kind of wanted to chit chat with you about stillwater fishing, about different tactics, different things like that, even down to, hey, we just finished a freaking boat build. Like you were a big part of that and stuff like that too. Like, what do you think? Like, what would it take for somebody to build out their own boat and stuff like that too, right? So kind of just wanted to get into the weeds in regards to stillwater fishing and different tactics. And what do you think people should be doing this time of year?
Yeah, man. I mean, I've done a lot of different types of fishing. I've caught a lot of cool fish, but Stillwater has my heart. It's the thing I will never not love the most. It There's something about just sitting in a boat, whether it's, fishing crawnies or stripping leeches or on a really bad day, just, pulling a blob through the water. It's there's nothing like a rainbow trout, that's for sure. So definitely has my heart growing up doing it and just kind of getting to be in the world a little bit, and then like just kind of as an adult refinding it a little bit and just um re-falling in love with it all over again. It's where I want to be most days, is in the
Heck
Okanagan,
yeah.
just catching fish,
Tell us a little bit
so,
about you growing up and stuff. Like you
yeah,
grew up and where did you first get introduced to fishing? And all things along those lines, or even the outdoors too, because you guys hunt and stuff like that too. Like, where did that kind of come from?
yeah. It's funny, like, my dad was actually, like, a pretty, like, adult onset hunter. Like, he didn't start hunting till we moved. So, I grew up in White Rock, and then lived there till I was, like, 11, just kinda, like, lived in the lived down here, White Rock, South Surrey, and did all the, like, the motocross and did all the sports and everything like that down here, and then, but we'd always go visit my cousins up in Salmon Arm, um, for every major holiday, whether it was, spring break, Thanksgiving, Christmas, stuff like that. So, but every time we'd go up there, it was just like, "Why are we leaving? Like, wow, what are we doing here?" Um, so yeah, we moved up to Salmon Arm when I was like 11, and my uncle played a huge part in kind of introducing all the kids and my dad a lot of in a lot of respects into hunting. And our mutual friend Graham kind of
Hmm.
got my dad into hunting as well, with like tulamine trips, stuff like that. Just kind of got him into the We
Yeah.
took him out in an RV first, so I got the comfort hunting and then, like, did the
Eased
weekend
him
stuff,
into
and
it is
then,
what you're saying.
you know,
Yeah.
when I'm eased
You're in
into
a
it.
hotel
Exactly.
on
Like,
wheels, trip
it,
1.
like
But by trip 10, you're in a backpack on
exactly.
the top of a
Yeah,
mountain.
exactly. It's like -20, and they're
Yeah.
sitting in a heated RV with, you know, Spencer and Caleb and the boys, and they're, you know, drinking wine and cheese and and getting up at 9, and it's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
this hunting thing's
it
not so
sounds
bad."
awesome. How do I get on one of these
Um,
hunts? Wine and
and he had
cheese and
this
RV, man, that
right?
sounds
And
awesome.
then
Yeah.
watching movies and stuff. It's like just I mean, if you're gonna get anybody
Yeah.
into hunting, that's how you do it, I guess. And then, yeah, with the move to Salmon Arm, my uncle was a huge outdoorsman, and he really took me under his wing when I moved up there. Like, he took me on my first hunt when I was, you know, he let me walk
Yeah.
with him in the woods when I was 8, and like kind of like introduced me to those things. Anytime we'd go up for Thanksgiving, it was always like I got a morning hunt with Uncle Ron. It was like it was the thing. And then, you know, my dad always loved fishing. Like
Okay.
fishing, fly fishing was always his thing.
So he did that,
So
like,
like
well before he
I've
was
been fly
hunting or
fishing since
anything
I
like
was
that?
yeah, he did that way before I was born. I've got, like, old videotapes and stuff
Hmm,
like that of him in a belly boat
cool.
in
Yeah.
Stillwater Lakes in the '90s and stuff like that, um, which is awesome, and then so, like, I caught my first rainbow trout
Yeah,
in,
cool.
like, Kakwa Lake,
Yeah.
like, you know,
I love
when
it.
I was 4 in a little old tin
Yeah.
boat that my great-grandpa owned, um, but, yeah, moving to Salmon Arm definitely, like, kickstarted that,
Mm,
like, the addiction to Stillwater, um, we and hunting, just all we did like every September, we'd go on a youth season hunt. Um, we'd go, you know, like me and my cousin and all of our friends from school. We'd have like 20 people out in this like giant hunt camp in September and do a big youth hunt and, you know, take all the 4 pointers off the mountain before the season started, which was, you know, as an adult now, it's like, oh, those dang kids. But
yeah,
I
there
was one
you
of those
go.
dang kids.
Getting in it
Um,
early.
but yeah, no, getting back yeah, exactly, but getting back on the fishing, like, yeah, every spring, summer event, like, if it was Father's Day, like, May long, like,
Yeah.
we were out at some lake in BC, we were camping, we were fishing, and it you know, it started pretty easy, it started with a lot of trolling, it started
Yeah.
with a lot of, like, dock sprattleys and on a sinking line, just kinda you know, not really, like,
Mm,
taking the time to learn the
yeah.
game, but still having success, and it was yeah, it was just a lot of fun, man. We just fished every year, multiple weekends, and just kind of did that, and then proximity to some of the
Yeah.
best lakes in BC, in
Definitely.
my opinion. As I got older, into my teens, like, it was easy to just after work or after school, just put the tinny in the back of the truck and hit the lake in 15 minutes and be fishing for the
That's
evening
such
before
a
dinner or
foreign
right after
concept
dinner
to
or
me,
whatever.
like, being, like, somewhat more westerly and closer to the ocean, like, 15 minutes, boats in the back of the truck, like, that's, like, I'm, like, a minimum of 2 hours to any Stillwater lake, like, that's incredible.
Yeah, I was that guy in high school, I had the tin boat in the back of my truck with the
Yeah.
Minn Kota in the back seat, like, my rod's in the back seat all day, and then
Yeah.
as soon as I'd get off school,
Oh,
just
I love
straight
it.
out to the lake, just drop it in, go fishing before dinner, like, it was just, like, so easy, and I do miss that aspect of, like I love that I can you know, being in Chilliwack area, we can
Yeah.
still day trip it, which is sweet, you know, it's not a huge commitment, but it's still, like I do miss those, like, fishing for 2 hours in the
Yeah.
evening
How
kinda
did you
kinda
get to
nights.
that point of like, because that's a far cry from trolling and like doing all this stuff of kind of what you were saying that really like what you originally started with. And then to, hey, now like I'm addicted, like I'm chucking the boat in the back of my truck and I'm heading out there every day after school. How did that transition kind of happen? And when did you kind of like get the bug and like start taking things, I guess, a little bit more seriously from trolling a sinking tip to obviously starting into indicator fishing and everything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing was, like, I just, like well, I had one day, um, like, I don't know, I must have been 14, and we had a day where, like, we just went out and we were we just tried it. We're like, hey, let's just like throw a chronomid in. You know, you've seen all the Brian Chan videos and everything like that. And it's like, let's just go try it. Like, let's go out to White Lake. It's a 15-minute drive. And we were in, 6 feet of water. It was pouring rain. Should not have been chronomid fishing, but we were sight fishing. We were sight fishing chronomids in the reeds, and we just tried it. And we were like, I caught the most
Really?
fish I'd ever caught in my life. It was like, it was unreal. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it was like for at the time. So it was like, I went from a 4-fish day being an unreal day to like, we had a dozen,
Yeah.
15 fish to the boat in a couple of hours. I'm 14. I'm like, this is the best thing. This is the only thing I want to do. This is the only thing I want to do. You have one of those days, like the days of majesty that just like, it's just like a switch flips and all of a sudden it's just like, I want to catch 50 fish every single day.
Don't
Like,
we all?
in the fishing world, yeah, in the fishing world, like we always chat about like
Yeah.
the 5 steps of a fisherman. It's like, the first step is like, I want to catch a fish. And then step 2, you transition from catch a fish to catch a lot of fish. And then step 3 is
Yeah.
to catch a big fish. And then step 4 is to catch a lot of big fish. And then step 5 is to catch the most elusive fish. And like, that's kind of the progression of an angler.
That's interesting, man. That's
and
actually an
it's
interesting
and I don't think
scale, especially out here. Like I haven't really thought of that,
Right?
but it's like maybe I'm in because we always talk about steelhead, right? And obviously you've caught steelhead and stuff like this, and it's like it's an interesting one because I always feel like I don't have like the steelhead bug, but I'm like I feel like maybe I just need to. I'm still on step 4, baby. I'm still on step 4. We need to transition into step 5 here one of these days.
Yeah. And I don't think the scale is, I used to think the scale was linear. I used to think it was like, once you get to elusive fish, it's like you never go back. It's kind of like, I think it's kind of cyclical in a weird way. Like, I've done the elusive fish fishing. I love steelheading. It's a grind. It's a hard battle. But I still love catching a lot of big fish. Like, I love catching a lot of fish still. Like, I still find myself sometimes in stage 2. Sometimes I find myself in stage 1. I'm like, I just need to catch a fish, you know? And so it's not a linear path, but it's definitely a kind of a
Yeah.
good indication of your intention during a given day, during a given week, whatever, given season. Just like, yeah, I wanna like right now I just wanna catch a lot of rainbows. Like I like if I can go have a 50 fish day,
You're doing it.
that's unreal. Yeah. And those days are far and few between. Like, there's a lot of 2-fish days and a lot of 6-fish days. But once in a while, you hit it just right, and you
Yeah.
just can't keep them off the line. It's just you're chasing those.
Oh, I love it, man. Dude, so what kind of like I feel like we've gotten a pretty good painting of the old backstory and everything like this. So then you moved to Abbotsford and all this stuff, and now you're just kind of in the day trip mission world. When did you start? Because obviously you have guided a little bit too, and like let's maybe jump into that kind of thought of like what was the transition? Because when you're out here, you're salmon fishing, right? Like you're not like, yeah, you're doing day trips for Stillwater and stuff like this, but kind of as you said, like Stillwater has your heart. Like, what are you doing in regards to salmon fishing? How did you really get into that? And then also, what was that draw that kept bringing you back to the Stillwater side of things?
Yeah, I think like the guiding and the salmon fishing was kind of a twofold intention, I guess. It was like I want to fill the freezer. I want to
Mm.
catch fish. I love eating salmon. It's delicious. Um, and then also like
Mhm.
it's here. It's something I can
Yeah.
go for an evening or a morning. I can get that like 15, like,
Mhm.
the 15-minute drive fix for a fish. And to be honest, like I don't love going and catching Chinook on a bead. Like it's not my favorite thing. Like drift fishing isn't my favorite thing in the world. It's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's better than no fishing at all. But like I kind of searched and searched to find the type of fishing that
Mm.
meets Stillwater for fun. And coho is that
Yeah.
drug for sure down here. Like if I can go coho fishing in October, it scratches that itch of like just like a super fun fighting fish, a fish that like is acrobatic and rolls on you, and is just like it's the size isn't the challenge of the fish. It's the like actual like way that it fights. Like rainbows
Yeah.
are crackheads.
really
Like they're sporadic. They fight like dogs.
Yeah.
For pound, they fight unreal. Coho is
Mm.
the closest thing I've found to that, and like definitely like fell in love with like the spoon fishing game. Like I find it's a ton of fun to just kind of like
Yeah.
search for them. Like you're hooking fish, the bite that the take is unreal. The way that they hammer a spoon, and then just like, it's a challenge. You lose a lot of coho, just they pop off because they're just so
Mhm.
sporadic. They're like a rainbow that way. Like they just fight like dogs. And I definitely found kind of like through my searching for something that scratches the itch, coho definitely hit that for me. And then having the chance to like go and help other people go and fill their freezers and get that bug. Like you see somebody's eyes light up when they hook their first coho and it dogs them and jumps out of the water and zips away and then pops off and they're like, oh my god, like they're just shaking and you're like, yeah dude, it's
Freaking
crazy,
incredible, dude.
they're
And they
nuts.
taste
Like
freaking awesome.
they taste delicious. Yeah, so like it's fun to like go and watch other
Mhm.
people experience that for the first time. Like um I I I still love every coho take. It's just unbelievable. And then watching other people experience that for the first time or you know, being able to like go catch a limit is just like it's sick just seeing like people's faces light up. And so like the guiding aspect of that was like I've fallen in love with it. Now I
Yeah.
want to help other people fall in love with it and experience it. So it's just like it
Oh,
was a
I
lot of
love it.
fun just kind of doing
Dude,
that.
it's interesting. When I chat with a lot of people that have, I would say, like, have had a lot of outdoor experiences, right? Like guys that like you said, man, like you were like the kid in high school with the freaking tinny in the back of the truck. And then obviously you've guided and done all this stuff. Like you've had a lot of outdoor experiences. And it's interesting. I feel like there's almost a transition that happens where it's like you fill your cup like personally and then you almost get like super excited about like the next person. That's like almost like a separate cup, like I hang out with a lot of hunters and stuff that are like, yeah, man, like honestly, like I've killed enough stuff. Like I don't feel like I need to pull the trigger on something, but like my goal, like Justin Balzer or Gris says this a lot. He's like my goal is to like get other people on there first. Like that's like his goal. And it's so cool. It's like, and I feel like you're kind of at that point too. And even just like the way that you're talking about it, it feels like you've kind of filled up your fish cup. Like obviously you still want to be catching fish. You're not like, oh, I'm done catching fish. I'm just chucking the rod in the
Yeah.
boat and
Yeah.
like doing whatever. But you're like, hey, like I'm going to take other guys out and I'm going to have my line in the water, but they're also going to have their line in the water. And like the main goal for today is to kind of get people on there first and different stuff like that. So that's cool, man. I feel like that is kind of like that transition that maybe happens. It's like you filled your fish cup, J-Rock. You filled your fish cup.
Definitely. I mean, like, I would say I definitely get more
Mm.
excited for other people catching fish than I do for myself catching fish now, especially salmon. Like salmon is, I mean, I still have fun and I
Yeah.
still absolutely love it. Don't get me wrong, but like at the end of the day, salmon for me has become
Yeah.
a freezer filling mission. And like and it's a great way to fill a freezer. It's a super fun way to fill a freezer, but I would way rather go out with people and show them the rigging and show them and get them on their first salmon. And like that to me is more exciting and
Yeah.
more like fulfilling now for sure than doing it myself. Like yeah, there's definitely that progression and I'm there. Like I
Yeah.
definitely get more excited for
That's
other
cool,
people.
man. I love it. I love it. Dude, so this time of year, we just went stillwater fishing maybe a couple weeks ago with the Fargone team. This time of year, what should we be doing? Like what is yeah, like you can troll a line, you can chuck some crawnies out. Like I last weekend was doing a lot of sight fishing with a leech and just like seeing where schools are and casting a leech into them, doing all that different stuff too. Like what do you kind of suggest this time of year? Obviously, we're kind of end of April here. Um, and I guess it also depends on kind of the lakes you're fishing, but kind of an overall, like give me like a basic breakdown in regards to Stillwater, and what people should be doing and maybe some different tactics that you would suggest.
Hmm. Yeah, I definitely think like first and foremost, like You're not
Hmm.
gonna catch fish if you don't find the fish. And, like, finding where they are is the biggest
Yeah.
thing you can do to increase your fish. Like, if you and something as simple as a, $150, Fishing Buddy, transducer, like a fish finder, like, just something that gives you some type
Hmm.
of feedback is, like, key to I mean, you can search for them, you can search for them without
And what
one,
would
and you
some of
can
those
have
signs be? Let's
success,
say you're
but it
not, because
just
not
makes your trip.
everyone wants to spend $150 on a fish finder.
Yeah,
What would be some signs that
yeah.
like you would be looking for if you're a freaking amateur out there? Like obviously you got birds, you got different midgets, you got different things like that. Like what would you kind of be looking for if you didn't have to use a transducer?
Yeah, I mean, I would, if I was going no transducer, I would start what I would probably do is
Mhm.
honestly troll for the first little bit. I'd troll around, and I'd be looking for, yeah, where the loons are hanging out, looking for fish jumping, because like, fish jump, and people are like, "Oh, yeah, it's just kinda like a red herring," but, like, it's like, if their fish are jumping
Yeah.
there, they're probably in that area somewhere, and kind of, like, getting an idea of, like, sometimes I'll see a fish jump, I'll move over to that where the fish jumped, and I'll drop an anchor just to
Mhm.
kinda get an idea of the depth, um, and then kind of, like, be trolling around and using, like, a leech or some sort of pattern that's just kind of like a searching pattern, something that's gonna get me on my first fish. Because like, the next step is really just,
Mm.
like, getting a
Yeah.
fish to the boat that you can pump to figure out what they're eating. Because like, if he's full of chronomids, like, I'd be dropping anchor instantly
Yeah.
in a depth that I saw a fish jump and dropping a chrony down. If he's, full of a whole mix mash smorgasbord of different things, like, you can
Yeah.
kinda throw the kitchen sink at them. Like, you can throw leeches are super effective. That's their biggest food source. It's their most consistent food source, all through the season. Chronomids make up, like, 95% of their diet, so it's always a good play. And then as the water warms up, you can start
Mm.
looking at damselflies, and you can look at, um like, if they're full of, like, the Daphnia algae, like the red algae, like, I'd throw a blob on. Like, you can kind of, like you can gauge a lot of things by getting that first fish to the boat. So however you
Yeah.
can make that first fish happen, like, do it. Whether that's, trolling a leech or stripping a leech, I'd cruise the shallows and
Mm.
see if I could see cruisers, like, and just kind of, like, just do whatever you can to get that first fish in the boat and get
Mm.
that information from the pump. That's the key to success. Like, aside from finding fish, obviously you wanna find fish, but, like, if you
Yeah.
don't have the tools to find fish, a fish in the boat, and then you can kind of have relatively good success just by, searching. So, like, what I would do, like, if I had no fish finder and I wanted to chronomid fish specifically, um, I would, start at 9 feet, and I throw a chronomid in, and I do this, and I'm a little bit
Okay.
OCD, but I fish on, like, a timer. Um, I fish on a 15-minute timer, and I'll fish a chronomid at, say, 9 feet for 15 minutes. Then, when that timer goes off,
Yeah.
I'll change flies once, fish it for another 15 minutes, nothing. Then I determine what my next step is. Do I wanna go deeper? Do I wanna go
Mm.
shallower? Did I see a bunch of cruisers? Is it a little warm? Do I
Yeah.
wanna go down to where the water's a little cooler? Like, after 30 minutes, I'll pull the anchors, maybe move
Yeah.
to 12 feet or to 15 feet. Try
Mhm.
that for the 30 minutes, and then every fish that I
Okay.
catch is resets the timer. So, like,
Yeah.
if I'm 7 minutes in on a fly and I catch a fish, back to
You
15
just have an
minutes, do it
unreal
again,
day and
and,
you're
like
just hitting
and
reset every couple minutes. Like,
yeah, sometimes, like, it works out sometimes. I mean, sometimes you don't move all day. You hit the spot, and then all
yeah.
of a sudden you're like, boom, 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 and it's just you're there all day catching fish, which is sweet. But it's a good way to not kinda get, like,
Mhm.
locked into a spot. Like, that's one thing I find a lot of guys on Stillwater do is they get so zoned in
Yeah.
on one location or one depth, and they don't
Mm.
look around them. They don't take their time to, like, really assess the situation. It's like, "I had success here 3 years ago in this one spot, and it worked."
Exactly.
Well, it
Good
worked that day,
fish
but
move
like
just like
it's
you
not
do.
safe. Definitely like, and it doesn't have to be as like, you know, compartmentalized into like 15-minute timer. It's just kind of like, don't be afraid to move. Really, is the moral of
Which
the story. It's like
Which I think is
try
so
to
good with that
everything.
timer. Like that's actually a really good piece of advice because I think like you're absolutely right. I do it all the freaking time. I'm like, this is the zone. This is the spot. Like I must just be throwing something bad out there, things like that, like how dare it like be I, like it's like this is the spot, right? So it's like, I don't know. I think that's a really good piece of advice to kind of have that like physical timer and having that mindset of being like, no, like, hey, if nothing's happened here, like I'm moving and like I'm chasing the fish in whatever way they are, right? So how often would you be like, obviously with cronies and stuff, it's a bit of a different story, but to get that first fish, what are you typically throwing? Are you just like, hey, black leech, anything like that, or is there like anything specifically that you're like, okay, this is gonna be the best thing to kind of grab any basis of anything, and then kind of run in from there and kind of hone in, and then obviously when you do get that first fish in, throat pump it and kind of going from there, or what?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of a little bit depends on the season. But like, yeah, some form of searching pattern, whether that's like a leech is a super consistent searching pattern, whether it's a black leech or as you get into the warmer
Yeah.
months, green leeches like olive, because it looks kind of like damselfly. It can cover a few different
Hmm.
more bugs that are hatching than just a leech. Just some form of searching pattern. So, a Doc Spratly, for example, one of my all-time favorite flies. I think it's
Hmm.
an underutilized fly nowadays.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of an
It's my
old
grandpa's
school
fly, bro.
pattern that I exactly, exactly. But like dude, I love it. Trolling a Doc Spratly is one of the best. It just covers
Mm,
so many different bugs. Kind of looks like a leech, kind of looks like a
yeah.
mayfly, kind of looks like a damselfly. Like it's kind of like a catch-all. Um, so anything that's just kind of gonna give you a wide array
Yeah.
of hatching things, is gonna be really, really effective. If you get out there and there's
Yeah.
husks of chronomids littered all over the
Yeah.
surface, I'm just going straight to a chronomid, really. Like, I'm just gonna be like, "Okay, there's it's 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning. I see
Yeah.
husks everywhere. I'm just throwing a chronomid down." But typically, like, first fish of the day, if I'm fishing with somebody else in a boat, we'll do, like,
Hmm.
1 leech, 1 chronomid. If it's just me in a boat and it's like I got 2 rods out, I'm 1 leech, 1
Yeah.
chronomid until I catch that first fish, get that indication. And then even when I'm fishing chronomids, like, I'll fish 1
Yeah.
chronomid on an indicator
Mm,
and 1 chronomid naked, where
yeah.
you're actually, like, stripping it in. Um, and I'll usually do, like, 1
Mm.
light chronomid and 1 dark chronomid.
Covering all the bases.
Um, like, that's one thing I Yeah, cover your bases, and, like, I've found that, like, more than, like, specific color of chronomid, light and
Mm,
dark make
really?
the
Yeah.
biggest differences. Like, shiny
Yeah.
silver chronomid versus a black chronomid is a way,
Yeah.
way bigger difference optically to a fish than, like, that weird brownish green versus the olive green, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes
Yeah.
that can make the difference, 100%, but I find that, like, an olive green fish might catch 5 fish, and the brownish
Yeah.
green might catch 7 versus, like, a chrome
Yeah.
chronomid might catch a dozen fish, and
Yeah.
a black chronomid might
Exactly.
catch none. Like, it's there's a way, way bigger difference to kind of, like, light and dark than there is to,
That's
like,
a good
the
point,
specific
man. Like
color.
I
Um,
am such a proponent of just like, oh, this one crawny with like the silver strand on it isn't working, so I'm chucking this like the slightly less silver strand one. But it's like, dude, like the contrast. I never even thought of that. Like, and it sounds so stupid as I say it out loud, but it's like, man, like the heavy duty contrast. That's something I'm definitely gonna be using on my next fishing trip for sure. If the fish aren't catching.
fish aren't biting. But, yeah, no, it's it doesn't have to be it's, I say chronomid colors are more for the angler than they are for the fish, kinda like spoon colors for coho, like, you have some lights, some darks, like, I've really tried not to get lost in the weeds on chronomid colors. I only fish, like, 4 chronomids now, 4 different colors and a couple different sizes, and
How
kind of go
often are
from
you
there.
changing sizes and
But
stuff like that? Like, and what are you basing that decision on? Because I feel like I get out there and I'm like, okay, like I'll catch my first one, and I'm looking at and I throw pump something and I'm like, okay, sweet. Like there's crawnies in the water. Like let's get a crawny on the line. Chuck it on the indicator, chuck it out there. But I feel like I'm often lost because I feel like oftentimes you sample that thing, and I feel like all those little crawnies inside the stomach are all like different sizes. So I'm like, oh, hey, this one just seems like it's going to cover the most and like chuck that sucker on there. But like in regards to sizes, like what are you doing? How are you making that decision? And how often are you switching up the sizes of the chronomids?
yeah, like typically I'll take whatever the average size of the
Hmm.
chronomid that's in the stomach is, and I'll
Okay.
kind of go one
Bigger. I
size
would have gone
bigger.
smaller. Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
I usually go one size bigger,
Yeah.
just because like for optics, I find that
Hmm.
it kind of looks magnified. Like, if I see a fish and a size 10 matches perfectly, I'll go to a size 8. Well, I hardly ever go to a size 8. That's bomber size. But like, if it's a size 16 chronomid in a fish,
Hmm.
I'll go to a 14 and I'll try that for a little while. And if that's not working, then I'll switch
Hmm.
down to that 16 size. And if that's still not working, then I'll try like, if
Yeah.
I'm really confident in the color match, then I move to more size changing. Like if I catch a fish and I pump it and it's got
Yeah.
chrome and red chronomids in it,
Yeah.
I'm fishing chrome and red the rest of the day. Like that's just the way it's gonna be. But
Hmm.
on those 15-minute switches, instead of switching to a different color of chronomid,
Okay.
I'll switch to a different size. So I might have like, an
Yeah.
18 and a 16 on, or a 16 and a 14 on, um, to try and really dial in exactly what they're feeding on. So you can kind of really get incremental
Exactly.
in your like changes. And then from there, it's just kind of like
The hammer on them, baby.
hammer on
I
them.
love it, dude. Dude, so we just recently
Yeah,
finished building out what I think is the ultimate John boat. You were a big part of that. What do you think
pretty
about
sweet
the
boat.
boat? What do you think, like, the average person, hey, if they're trying to build out the ultimate John boat, like, in their world and in their budget and everything like that, like, what are, like, kind of the must-haves? And what are some things on our boat that you're pretty stoked on that you're like, "Okay, this is sick."
Mhm. First and
Yeah,
foremost,
it's true.
get a boat. Just whatever you can get your hands on, dude. Like, I literally my boat that I fish on the most is literally like a 1939 Sears
Freaking off.
12-foot tinny,
Gets you out
like,
there.
that my great-grandpa got, y
Yeah,
80 years ago, and the boat has been patched and patched and patched and grinded down and re-welded. Like, the whole boat is a total, like, it's been repainted 1,000
yeah,
times. It's great. I love that boat. But I would say the key to a good boat is, like I said, if you're gonna spend any money on your boat, get a fish finder. That's literally the first thing I would do. You can run the thrift store Minn Kota or the old,
yeah.
1960s Evinrude, like, doesn't matter. If it floats, perfect. Um, the key is get that fish finder
You're a
any way, shape,
proponent
form
for
you
that,
can.
eh? Like,
Like,
that's,
that
like,
is your
something that, like, is honestly, like, the last
yeah.
like, I haven't ran a fish finder till this year. Like, a fish finder's always been, like, the very maybe I'm not catching very many fish because of it, but it's, like, in my head, that's always been, like, the last, like, "Oh, if you're just, like, doing well, you'll get a fish finder on your boat," you know? Like
Yeah. No, a fish finder, because a fish finder not only gives you, like,
Mhm,
yeah, it's great to find fish, perfect, but it's also
mm,
knowing your depth and knowing, like, having an accurate depth and an
yeah,
accurate water temperature can be
mm,
huge for the program, if nothing else. Like, you may not be marking fish, but if you know what
yeah,
depth you're in and you know what the water temperature is, you can make a lot of educated guesses based off that information. Um, it's the first thing I would do. It's like that is by far, like, if I had a boat that floated and a motor that got me around the lake, I'm putting a fish finder on. Past that, like, I would say
mm,
anything you can do to
okay,
quiet the boat up, whether that's like the floor we did in the John boat is
yeah,
unbelievably quiet. Um, right? Like, those it's like tapping on a fish tank, right? Like, if you're in a tin boat and it's creaking and slamming and like, "Dum, dum, 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 dum," right? Like, that reverberates down, and that scares fish. Like, you don't think it, but like those big
Yeah.
bangs and clangs in a tin boat, like
Yeah.
that's gonna move fish. Um, and like, so if you can do anything to like quiet your boat up, whether that's, go buy a cheap couple of, pieces of insulation from Home Depot and gluing them to the floor,
Mhm.
like it doesn't have to be anything crazy, just something that's gonna like make it not so noisy. It is another thing that a lot of guys don't think about,
Mhm.
and it just adds a bit to the comfort. Like if your boat's quiet,
Yeah,
it's a
definitely.
little bit more
It's way
serene.
nicer, man. I love having a quiet boat for sure.
Yeah, that'd be my next one. And if you go the next step and you put the floor in, the quiet insulated floor, and then you have a nice place to
You're
stand
not
on,
getting
it's
fly
comfortable
line
all
caught in
day, you're not
ribs or
like
anything like
ex
that.
exactly, catch your
Yeah.
leader on a rivet, stuff like that, it's just like a lot of that stuff goes out the window, which is really nice, and like yeah, and also like in those like V-mod boats, like if you're
Yeah.
in an old V tinny, if you can put a flat floor in it, then
Yeah.
you're not doing that like awkward, which I don't know if you've ever felt a lake when it's 50 degrees Fahrenheit. It's cold, and I
Yeah,
don't feel like
not at
flipping a
all.
boat into it. The flat floor just really helps with
Mm.
stability when you're walking
No,
around
it's
in your
so true,
boat.
man. Yeah, the boats are the fun part. It's like or one of the fun parts for me. I just like that stuff, but it's like there's so many different ways to skin a cat, right? It's like ultimately you can get out there with anything that floats. Frick, man, get the old Explorer 200 from Canadian Tire, dude, and I guarantee you'll still catch fish. So it's like, but it's also fun just to be like, oh, like let's get a little creature comforts in here and like upgrade the thing and kind of like or at least what we tried to do with Fargon was build like what we thought was like the ultimate boat too, right? Which in my opinion is a little overkill. You don't need a boat like that, but at the same time, it's like it's kind of fun. It's like why not? If you enjoy it, why not do it, right? So, but yeah, absolutely anything that will get you out there. But it is fun to talk about. So, what are like the two besides a fish finder? Let's say you're getting a new boat. Like what are the first two things you're doing besides a fish find?
Yeah, I mean, like, if I'm gonna buy a boat, and this a little bit depends on your situation, but, like, getting the new brands of, you know,
Hmm.
those wide johns, those
Yeah.
shallow, wide johns for Stillwater specifically are game changers. Like,
Yeah.
shout out Marlin. If you can get into a Marlin, if that's in your budget, but anything that's like a nice wide
Yeah.
flat bottom john is your key to success. Like, and there's a lot of like the old school johns. You'll see them like the
Yeah.
1232s from Low. Like
Hmm.
those are
Yeah.
32-inch across the gunnel, and they're
Hmm.
narrow.
Yeah.
They're tippy. They're tippy. But you get into like a 1248, like a Marlin, like that's where you get into like the creature comforts, like being able to walk around your boat, being able to,
Yeah.
lean over the side and do a throat pump with your friend
Yeah,
and not feel like you're
exactly.
gonna flip the thing
It
is
really
a
is.
game changer. Um, and then I I
Yeah.
I always like a boat on a trailer personally over a clamshell, but I understand that
Yeah.
like a lot of people just don't have the space for that. Um, so if you can, like if you're gonna build a boat out and it's gonna go on top of your
Hmm.
truck, do it modularly.
Yeah.
Like make a floor that pops out. Get a fish finder that has a magnetic transom or a magnetic
Yeah.
transducer that you can like just pop on and off, right? Like there's a lot of things that are coming out that
Hmm.
make a boat a lot more modular. Um, but I would say like if you're gonna buy a decent boat, like get something that's as
Yeah,
wide across the
exactly.
gunnel as you can
No,
get.
I love it, man. Frick, dude. Jeremy, this has been a lot of fun, man. I think that we got to get you on here again, chat more
Yeah, for sure.
fishing, and especially as we kind of jump into salmon season here on the Vetter, everything along those lines. And dude, thanks again for joining the team, man. We've loved having you a part of the team and our resident fish guy. Can we
Man,
call you that? Resident fish
resident
guy.
fishing.
So
Yeah, buddy.
dude, this has been a blast though,
Yeah,
man. I'm looking forward to yeah, still chasing some more fish here pretty soon. And hopefully maybe we'll have to do another Fargone fishing day on the Stillwater season here and kind of go from there. So speaking of that, quickly, one last question before you go. I feel
might
like
have to.
obviously ice off fishing is kind of the end all. Um, is there a certain month though that you would be like, I'm not really getting out Stillwater fishing anymore? Because obviously the later you get into the summer, it changes a little bit. Like, what's kind of like the latest that you're typically like running hard? Obviously, we're in the heat of season right now, but like, when are you kind of starting to taper off?
Kind of depends on the year, but like anytime the water hits like 65 Fahrenheit, it's kind of when I stop fishing. Um, so like typically that falls like last week of June, first week of July, kind of like up in, 100 mile like Highway 24 fishing highway, like kind of can stretch to like the last week of July. Sometimes just like when that water gets too warm, it's a little bit of a
Yeah.
like the fishing just gets harder. Just like there's stuff hatching when the water gets that warm. Um, Part two of that is like it starts to become a bit of an ethical dilemma for me. Like just the
Okay.
survivability of fish
Yeah.
goes down the warmer the water gets. So if you are gonna fish in those temperatures, like you wanna
Yeah.
be efficient about it. You wanna like I'll if I'm gonna fish in July, I'll typically
Mhm.
go from a 5 weight to a 6
Yeah.
weight just so I can kinda muscle fish in a little bit harder. Um, just because I wanna be efficient. Because like, just
Yeah.
as the water gets warmer, there's a little less oxygen, like, it just the survivability of fish goes a little bit further down, so, like, I'll typically stop fishing
Okay.
end of June. I'll do
Yeah.
maybe a stillwater day in July, or
Yeah.
if I'm, like, out at the cabin or something like that in the summer, like, I'll throw a line in, but I'm not,
Yeah.
like, chasing fish as hard. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to go catch
Exactly.
100 fish in
So we got
July.
2 months here, J Rock. Let's sprint it. Let's go fishing.
Let's go fishing.
Sweet man, dude. Appreciate
Yeah.
you, and dude, thanks for jumping on. See you guys next
Thanks
time
for
on the
having me
old
on, man.
Fargone
Appreciate it.
Podcast.